Welcome to Your Math Explained, where we make math simple and clear. My name's Angela. In our last video, we looked at functions we could simplify using algebra before taking the derivative. We distributed, we split fractions, we made life easy. But what happens when you run into a function that cannot be simplified? Before we go into that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do that first so you don't miss out on new weekly content. Now let's take a look at our f of x here. We have f of x is equal to x squared times e to the x. Notice how we have two terms that are multiplied together. And there's no way for us to simplify this into one single power of x term. And unfortunately, we can't just take the derivative of both parts and multiply them together. And it is very important that you remember that. Meaning, f prime of x is not equal to the derivative of x squared times the derivative of e to the x. This would be us taking the derivative of each term separately and then multiplying them. But that is not the derivative of f of x. And similarly, if we have division, we can't take the derivative of the numerator and the denominator separately and then divide them. This is why we need the product and the quotient rule. Let's take a look at what they are. So the product rule says that if we have f and g and they're both differentiable, then the derivative of f of x times g of x is equal to, we're going to take the derivative of f of x, multiply it by g of x without doing anything to it, and then we add f of x without doing anything to it, and multiplying it by the derivative of g of x. And the quotient rule is pretty similar. If we have f and g both being differentiable, and of course g cannot be equal to 0, then the derivative of f divided by g is going to be the derivative of f multiplied by g. And notice how here we have a subtract instead of a plus, like in the product rule. So it's subtract f of x multiplied by the derivative of g of x, and then this is going to be over g of x squared. There's a common mistake where people end up doing the wrong order in the numerator for the quotient rule. So in the product rule, the order here doesn't matter because we're adding them. However, for the quotient rule, because this is a minus, it's important to remember that the first term in the numerator is going to be the derivative of our top function first. And then we subtract the top function multiplied by the derivative of the bottom function. So as a good habit, for both the product rule and the quotient rule, make sure you take the derivative of f of x first. Now this can look a little bit daunting, so using Newton's prime notation, it often gives us a better visual of what the procedure is. So for product rule, if I want to take the derivative of f times g, it's going to be f prime times g plus f times g prime. And then the quotient rule is going to be f prime times g minus f times g prime over g squared. And this is just a little bit easier to memorize. Now let's take a look at how to use them in action. Part A, we're asked to find the derivative of x cubed times ln of x. So here we're going to be using our product rule. So our f here is x to the power of 3, and then our g here is ln of x. So the product rule says that this is going to be equal to the derivative of our first function. So that's going to be 3 times x squared, and then we multiply it by our second fraction without doing anything to it. Then we're going to add our first function, which is just x cubed, and then we multiply this by the derivative of the second function. So the derivative of ln of x is 1 over x. Now simplifying this is going to give us 3x squared ln of x plus x squared. For the second example, we're asked to find the derivative of e to the x over x squared. So this one, we're going to be using our quotient rule. And again, our top function, e to the x is going to be our f of x, and then our bottom function, x squared, is our g of x. So now the quotient rule says this is going to be equal to the derivative of the top function. So the derivative of e to the x is still e to the x. We multiply this by our bottom function, and this time it's going to be subtract. And we subtract our top function multiplied by the derivative of our bottom function. So that's going to be 2x. And then we're going to take that and put this all over the bottom function squared. And now we're just going to simplify this a little bit. So this is equal to x squared times e to the x minus 2x times e to the x. And this is going to be over x to the power of 4. And since we can factor out an x from the top and cancel it out with one of the x's on the bottom, we can simplify this a little further, and this becomes x times e to the x minus 2 times e to the x over x to the power of 3. And now let's do a quick recap of what we covered in this video. We went over our product and our quotient rule. For products, remember that the derivative of f times g is going to be f prime times g plus f times g prime. And the order here doesn't matter because we're doing addition. However, for quotient, the order does matter because it's subtraction. So as a good habit, even though for our product rule the order doesn't matter, we should still take the derivative of the first function first. And for our next video, we're going to take a look at how to actually prove the product rule. And now it is your turn to give this a try. Can you find the derivative of the two functions on the screen here? Make sure to leave your answer in the comments below and let us know what other calculus topics you'd like to see in the future. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, remember to hit that like and subscribe. And if there's a topic you'd like us to cover, make sure to drop it in the comments.